Good morning and welcome to shuldotcom. We are here this morning learning a unique sefer. The name of the book is Sod Hadlakat Nerot Chanukah. Which means the pamphlet of the secret of Nerot Chanukah. But before we begin, I wanted to talk a little bit about who is the author. The author is a rabbi called Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor. Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Sagi Nahor is a euphemism. It's for somebody who's blind. It's the Aramaic for someone who's 𝐖𝐈𝐓𝐇. They call him Sagi Nahor. Nahor means light, or much light. Sagi is like a lot of light, meaning he's blind. It's like almost saying the opposite of what he is. Lots of light, meaning he couldn't see. He was the son of the RAAVAD, the third RAAVAD. There's three of them. So his father was the RAAVAD, and the grandfather of the RAAVAD was the second RAAVAD, and then there was one before him as well. He lived in the year 1235. He died in the year 1235. He was born in 1160. So
the last one you're talking about, the blind?
No, Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor. This rabbi, the author, he was born in 1160, died in 1235. He was also known as the Lisan, which is Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor. It's an acronym. So he lived in Provence, which would be modern day France. And he wrote this little kunteras. It's just interesting that we're going to learn a lot of secrets about the lights of Hanukkah from somebody who seemingly was blind and didn't see it. It's just interesting.
Did they know Rashi, the great grandfather or something? Wasn't that the same?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'doro. No, this is different.
Provence is in France.
In France, yeah, but this is a different group. So let's read a little bit about his life. Rabbi Yitzchak kibel chochomat HaKabbalah me'aviv HaRAAVAD. He got most of his Kabbalah from his father, the RAAVAD. Umizkeno HaRAAVAd Hasheni, and from his grandfather, the second RAAVAD. RAAVAD is Rabbi Abraham ben Yitzchak, or that was one of them. The Av Bet Din. So that Rabbi Abraham ben Rabbi Yitzchak Av Bet Din min Narvona. That was the second RAAVAD that we have. And then see here the third RAAVAD, which was his father, Rabbi Abraham ben David Miposhkeira. So Rabbi Yitzchak was the son of the RAAVAD, Rabbi Abraham ben David Miposhkeira. And then his grandfather was the RAAVAD, which was Rabbi Abraham ben Yitzchak Av Bet Din. So just know that there were a few of them. Okay, so Hayar Abam Shel Rabbi Ezra Rabbi Azriel Mizirona. He was the rabbi of those individuals. Rabbotav Shel HaRamban. He was the father of Ramban Nachmani.
What was it again?
He was the rabbi of the Ramban.
He was the Ramban's
rabbi. Yeah, the Ramban.
So he was in Spain.
Ramban lived from 1194 to 1270. He was in Spain, but it doesn't mean that you could have seen him, we could have learned from him.
This blind guy was the Ramban's
rabbi. That's right. We're talking about Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor. He was the Rabbotav Shel HaRamban. Shelefi Divrei Rabbi Chaim Vital Himshichu et Shalshelet HaKabbalah. That's how they continued the chain of the Kabbalah that went from Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor to him. Now he's known, Rav Musafi calls him the Ava Mekubalim, the father of the Mekubalim. He was one of the first of the modern day Mekubalim. What do I mean modern day? The Mekubalim from the time of Bayit Sheni and Bayit Rishon. We know from Rabbi Yehonia ben Hakana. He was from Rabbi Yehonia ben Hakana, who wrote the Ana Bechowach, that we say that was one of the first Kabbalistic prayers that we have. But I mean in the modern world, like from the Middle Ages onwards, if someone...
Isn't that something to do with the coming of Mashiach, all this kind of stuff?
השפעתו על חוגי המקובלים הספרדים בדורו הייתה כה רבה. His effect on the Spanish rabbis that were מקובלים was very, very strong. עד שבספרי המקובלים הספרדים מתקופתו הוא מכונה בכינוי החסיד. They just call him the Hasid. When you see in the Kabbalistic works of the time, hey Hasid, you know, he's talking just about him, Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor, Ava Mekubalim. Li lefaret shmo. We even have to say, you don't have to say shmo, you say hey Hasid, you know it's him. Rabbeinu Bachya bePirusho al Bereshit on Lamed Bet Dash Yud Maskiro Betor Avia Kabbalah. So that was where it first came on, the father of the Kabbalah. Rabbeinu Bachya brings it down in Bereshit Lamed Bet Shud. Chokrei Kabbalah Rishonim, those who researched the Kabbalah in the beginning, Tzvi Gertz Moshe Land Oar, טענו כי רבי יצחק הוא מחדשה של תורת הקבלה היהודית בכלל ויחסו לו את חיבור ספר הבהיר. They actually give him authorship that he was the one who actually wrote in the modern day Sefer HaBahir. Sefer HaBahir is one of the old Kabbalistic works. It's just interesting that the Mesoret of this book comes from Rabbi Nehonya ben Akana, one of the original Mikubalim that wrote the Ana Bechawach. Okay, let's continue.
Is this book available?
Yeah, it's a PDF. We're going to put it onto our group, and it's going to be on shuldotcom as well, so people can see it. החוקרים אברהם אליהו הרקבי וגרשום שלום חלקו עליהם והוכיחו שהוא קיבל את יסודות הקבלה מרבותיו ושספר הבהיר נתחבר על ידי מחבר אחר. Some say someone else wrote the בהיר. המזרחן הגרמני אריך בישוף, אריק בישוף, טען כי רבי יצחק סגי נהור היה המקור הראשון לרעיון 10 ספרות הקבלה. This other individual, Eric Bischoff, said that this rabbi, Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor, was the first one that either redacted or had written on the 10 sefirot, the 10 sefirot. You always hear about that, the 10 spheres. That he was one of the first on to, I guess, teach it. ונראה כי טען כך משום שאף הוא ייחס לרבי יצחק את חיבורו של ספר הבהיר. כפי שרואים טענות אלו הן של גרץ והן של אריך בישוף, יסודן בטעות, מכיוון שכבר בדרשי חז"ל בספר יצירה, שלפי כולם קדמו לרבי יצחק סגי נהור, מובאים ברמז יסוד הקבלה במפורש, מובן עניין 10 ספירות. People argue on him and say, no, the 10 ספירות were already predated him, the Sefer HaBahir predated him. Just different opinions. Rabbi Menachem Rekanti He'id Alav, the Rekanti, who was one of the first rabbis who actually wrote the Lamnatseach in the design of a menorah. You ever see the Lamnatseach? He was one of the first, the Rekanti, that does it. I actually found online his handwritten menorah. We're doing research for another class on who were the first ones who designed by hand the menorah in the Lamnatseach. That's one of them was Rabbi Menachem Rekanti. There was also Rabbi Lazar.
I didn't do Lamnatseach. Lamnatseach is from.
No, that's from Tehillim, but who took it from the Tehillim and actually wrote it? Rabbi Menachem Rekanti was one of them. There was Rabbi Eliezer Megan Miza, also one of the Baal Tosafot. שהיה מכיר בפני האדם שנולד אם הוא נשמה חדשה או נשמה שמחוזרה בגלגול. So Rabbi Menachem Rekanti said on Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor that he was one of those individuals who could look at a person and tell him if you're a fresh soul or you're one that came in Gilgul in the past, and what was the tikkun of that. Rabbi Yehuda HaChayat מעיד עליו שהיה מרגיש באוויר ששאף על ידי מיטתו של חולה. He can feel the wind, the air, if somebody is bed, if he was sick in a place. אם יקום החולה מחוליו או ימות, he can feel from the air around the bed if someone's sick if he would survive or if he was going to have to go to the next world. And his blindness gave him strengths in other places besides the Kedusha and the Torah that he learned. Hamalachin ha'argetani. So I guess these are the Argentinian. That's what it looks like. Let's take a look at what the Argentina. Yeah, the Argentinian Malachin are the sailors. Osvaldo Golichub Halachin בשנת נתן הניסה ביצירה לקרנית קלייזמר רביעית מתארים בשם חולנותיו וכתובה של רבי יצחק סגי נהור בביצועו של דוד קרקואר. That's David. Oh, so whatever. I think that's just in regards to something that they did. That's written here in the background on him. Okay, with that, I think we'll begin. We have a little bit of a background of who he is, and a little bit of his greatness. All right, let's begin. Sod Hadlakat Nerot hanukkah miyuchas Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor beno shel RAAVAD mitoch tav yad. All right, so this is a 11-page book. Let's begin. Said Sod Hadlakat Nerot shel Chanukah. What is the secret of lighting the candles of Hanukkah? Yesh ba'asrat tenaim. There are 10 conditions on them. Hatanai harishon, the first one. Ize keli ra'ui laner Hanukkah. Which vessel, which keli should be used in order to light for the candles of Hanukkah? Bet. Kama shi'ur klal hechalal. What is the measurement keli and the hollowness of it. Let's see what the details of that. Gimel. Be'ezeh shi'ur shemen ra'ui lahadlik. How much oil to use? Obviously, it has to be 30 minutes, but should it be more or should it be different? Olive oil, different oil. That's another one. Dalet 4. Kama shi'ur hashemen shachayav latet lekol ner. How much oil to put for every single candle? How much oil to use? How much to use for every candle? I say that because remember when we did the 9 reasons of the Beit Yosef, remember we came up where one of the miracles was they put an eighth of oil and then it lasted the whole night. So that could be something. Hey, number 5, which wick should you use? Also, Vav, shi'ur kamut petila, how thick should the wick be? Yeah, well, you didn't even think that you needed this. You didn't think this wasn't even important. He's telling you from over 1,000 years ago, almost. No, every one of these things has an effect on your mitzvah. Don't think it's just, hey, take a candle out of the box, stick it into a cup, and you solve all the issues. No, there's depth to it. 6, the thickness of the wick. Zayin, where should you put the menorah? Chet, 8, how high from the ground it should be. Tet, and which candles should you start to light every night? And then the 10th, in which order should you light the candles? Okay, let's go.
From left to right,
left to right, right to left. Very good. The first thing, that what kind of vessel? There are 15 different types of vessels that a person can use in order to light for Hanukkah. What are them? And they go in an order of value. It's not just 15, choose whatever you want. There's a higher and lower level. Mishum 𝐂𝐈𝐓𝐇 𝐂𝐈𝐓𝐇 means this is my God and I will exalt him. That's what it literally means. It's from the Bayosha, from the Az Yashir. What that really means is that when you do mitzvot, do them where you're proud of them. You know, when it comes to a car, every 2 years, 3 years, people like to have a new lease and get a fresh new car, new smell, they wash it, everything. But you look at the guy's talit, his talit, he didn't change since he was bar mitzvah. It's 35 years old and it smells like grandma. So this is talking about 𝐂𝐈𝐓𝐇, meaning when it comes to personal things, if you give a nice value to them, then do the same thing with the mitzvot. You know, have yourself nice quality items in mitzvot. That's called 𝐂𝐈𝐓𝐇. And he says this is also when it comes to the menorah and the hanukkah. Ha'alef kli zahav. What's the highest level? That is a golden menorah. It's permitted to use a golden menorah. Why would it be permitted and not be an imitation or replica of the menorah of the mizbeach of the Beit Hamikdash? Why? Give me a simple one, Lior.
Menorah hanukkah.
Why? What's the main difference?
7 branches versus 8. The way it's actually.
There you go. You got it. What? That's it. 7 verse 8. That's it. So it's not. No,
it's 8.
It's 8. So as opposed to 7. So it's not the same.
The menorah. Okay, go ahead.
So you got it. So it's gold and ours has 8. So it's not the same like it. Okay, good. The second habit. What's the second level? Kesef, silver. Gimel. The next one. Keli matachot bezahav mimin hanechoshet.
Copper.
So it's a copper, but a red, v'domeh legavan hazahav. So a yellow-red brass hanukkah. That's what we put on there. I put here nechoshet copper, but
gold-plated.
No, here's not. He didn't say gold-plated.
Gold color, gold brush.
It's here. We put it on the board copper nechoshet. But it could be a copper brass mix that has the yellow red of looking like it's gold. That's actually the one that I use. I found the one that is in the design where the hanukkah is like the Lubavitch design where it's slanted, and I found it in like a copper red color, yellow, so it looks like gold, but it's made out of that. That's the third level after silver. Okay, Dalet kle nechoshet mamash shehu adom. That's talking about a copper that is copper red, not copper like gold. All right. So that what would be the difference, I guess, between these two? You had copper that looks like yellow gold, and then you have a copper that is red. You got it so much?
Let me tell my wife real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, because
the next one you have keli matechet hamechone nechoshet. Then you have a metal that's made out of copper directly, but doesn't have the color of red or yellow. The next one is the keli bedil. Bedil is made out of tin, that's a metal. Zayin, 7, would be lead. Chet would be keli avanim, stone. 9 would be keli zechuchit, would be glass. And 10 would be keli etzem, would be bone. Yud Aleph is kli cheres hamitzupe be'avad. So that's talking about ceramic or porcelain that had on it a plate of avad. What's avad? We looked that up in Masechet Avodah Zara Ayin Hey Amud Bet Dibura Matchil Kunya, that's ceramic plated with molten lead. That would be the 11th. Yud Bet would be keli cheres bilti mitzupe, and that's talking about a vessel that's ceramic that isn't plated at all. Hamitzupe da'ui le'elef shanim. The covering on the ceramic should be for a minimum of 1,000 years. But if someone uses ceramic unplated, he should use it a new one every single year. Yud Gimel klipat rimon. 13 would be the shell of a pomegranate. 14 would be klipat ha'egoz hindi. That's talking about the Indian walnut shell. That's what we found. And then 15 would be kilipat ha'alon, which would be from the oak tree, the shell of a form from the oak tree. Gimel haklipot hanizkar tzarich shayasu l'shem keli. Those 3 kelipot, the shells of the pomegranate, the walnut, and the oak tree, would have to be made specifically for a menorah. Not just you take from a pomegranate shell that dried out, but rather one that was designed for a keli vessel. וישתמשו בהם לעשותם כף מאזניים או לימוד בהם פלפלים וכיוצא בהם. ואם עשם הגדול לשם כלי, אף על פי שלא נשתמש בהם אלא שחשב להשתמש בהם, מחשבת הגדול חשבו כמעשה. So if he made them for the vessel, even if he didn't use it for a vessel, it's okay. אבל הקטן, מעשה הקטן, קרוי מעשה, ואין מחשבתו קרויה מעשה, עד שישתמש בהם. But if someone is a katan, a child who did it, if an adult did it and he wanted to use it for a menorah, but he didn't, it's okay. But if a katan did it, his machshava, his thoughts while making it, is not considered the same way until it's used. He says here, he has a note on the bottom. I brought down Masechet Chulin Yud Bet. About klipat habitzalim v'habitzim. Let's say you want to take the shell of an egg. Maybe not a regular egg, but like an ostrich egg, which is a stronger egg, or from the onion, the shell of an onion. They're not good to use for menorah, hanukkah. Anything that's important, except for these 15, interesting. This is the rule. Anything that is important, except for these 15 that are listed, they're not ra'ui lahadlakat hanukkah, not pertinent. But I mean, we really covered all of them so quickly. So you just look again. We have gold, we have silver, we have copper yellow, copper red. Then we have actual copper in any color, tin, lead, stone, glass, bone, ceramic plated molten lead, ceramic plated with molten lead. You have ceramic unplated. And he mentions when it's plated, it should be plated for a 1,000 year time frame. Then he has pomegranate shell, Indian walnut shell, and then the oak tree shell. So those are the 15 levels. I mean, pretty much covered everything. I don't see plastic here. Not that someone should like with plastic, because there wasn't any plastic at the time. It's come from petroleum, from oil. It's a byproduct. But
what about if you take a piece of aluminum foil, put it down, and put the candle?
So that would be matechet. That's metal. So that would fall under tin, maybe. Bedil. It would fall. It's aluminum. But we can maybe would connect it. We have to look. Let's look further. Davar shehu chashuv me'elo k'nizkar eno v'chol keli me'elo hanizkar she'eno yachol la'amod me'elav ela shetzarich l'samcho b'davar acher eno ra'ui l'ner hanukkah v'lo l'ner shabbat she'mevarchin alav. So any vessel from these that are listed that can't stand by itself, doesn't stand up except if you have something to lean it against. It's not good for the hanukkah. or not for Shabbat either. It should be able to stand on its own. Anytime we make a blessing on a candle, it should go into a vessel of a sort, not just a candle sticking on the table, or it should have something, a plate, or keli, something of the nature. בדון לנר שבת שמברכים עליו, שכל נר שאנו מברכים עליו צריך שיהיה כלי, והכלי שאינו יכול לעמוד על שוליו אינו ראוי להדלקה, and a vessel that can't stand up on its own, maybe it's tipping over, it's missing a leg, it's no good. שאנו למדים נר חנוכה מנורת בית המקדש, because we learn it from the vessel of the menorah in the בית המקדש, היו כלי מכלי בית המקדש. Okay, very nice. התנאי הבית, what's the second condition? So the first condition that we just mentioned on all this is which vessel is important to light with. That was the first one. Hatanai habet. Shu shi'ur klal hakeli. The type of vessel and its hollowness. Perush yesh lo shi'ur lemata ve'en lo shi'ur lemala. Which means it has a measurement from the bottom and not a measurement from the top. V'sarich shelo yivchot me'etzba al etzba be'erum etzba godel, and it shouldn't have a distance of from finger to finger, berum etzba begodel, with the godel. This is, he brings that from in Pesachim Kuf Yud. V'zeh hashiur yahazik mashkal bet darhamin v'chatzi meshemen zayit, and this is the measurement of the mashkal, the weight of 2 darhamin. He brings here down shi'ur esba begodel lahazon ish. That's the measurement of the thumb, of the measurement of the hazon ish, 2.4 centimeters. The Hagon Rav Chaim, 2 centimeters. So there's the argument 2.4, 2 centimeters. Mishkal hadarham mekevan the 3.2 gram. That's another opinion. Hadirham. Okay. V'chatzi meshemen zayit. בתנאי הדלת מבועד בשיעור השמן הוא בית דרהמים וריע. אכן בתנאי הו"ב כתב דחלל הנר צריך שיהיה מחזיק משקל בית דרהמים וחצי ודברים בתוכו בית דרהמים ורביע ורביע נוסף לפתילה. So he's saying how thick should be the little top piece where you're putting in the oil. Should it be big or small? And he's giving you the measurements of the minimum of them. So it could be anywhere from 2.4 centimeters to 2 centimeters to 3.2 gram of the mishkal. So it's talking about space, distance, along with the measurement inside. Let's continue. Hagimel, what's the third thing? Shehu be'ezeh shemen ra'ud hadlik. That what kind of oil should you light with? Da af al pi she'amnu razal kol shemanim v'apetilut keshirim l'ner Chanukah. Even though the rabbi said all the oils and all the woods are kosher for Chanukah, al kol zeh ratzui lachzor achar shemen zayit zach. You should try to get olive oil or virgin olive oil. Shebeshemen zayit nasa anes, because it was in olive oil that the miracle happened. V'hayoted zach harim mishubach, and the more pure, the more virgin the oil, the better it is. First press, cold press, even before the press, which was what they used in the Beit HaMikdash. The Beit HaMikdash oil, if I'm not mistaken, was just when they had the olives and the first oil just came out by itself without it even being pressed. Shemen zayit zach katit lamaor. V'ashemen zayit afal pi shelo yeh zach kol kach yoter tov mish'ar shemanim. It's better to use an olive oil that's not the most pure as opposed to other oils that might be.
If I took a bunch of olives and squeezed them, it would be olive oil.
Yeah, but the olives that you normally have already been in vinegar or have been with other liquids.
Oh, it's gotta be.
So I mean I haven't squeezed them.
It's at insanely high pressures too, and like you're saying, it's usually you have to squeeze them within a certain amount of time that you pick them, because then you lose a lot.
Yeah, because
of
by the way, and olives are not edible off a tree.
Yeah,
they have to be processed in order to eat them. I know that because I read an article once of an individual who was fabricating that he was one time in Israel and he pulled an olive off a tree and he ate it and he loved the taste. And everyone when they heard that, they told them that everything you just said is a complete fabrication and lie. He said, why? He said, because it's not humanly possible to do that. It would break his teeth before he would be able to eat it. So that was an interesting point. One of the rabbis pointed out that they were able to question what he had said. Okay, Hadalet, the fourth. Shu shi'ur hashemen tzarich shelo yifchot mimishkal bet darhamin. That's the measurement of how much oil. Urvia, 2 dirhams, and a divia, which is a fourth. Bechol ned vaned. So he's saying how much oil to put inside every single candle. V'hatam she'amru razal, the rabbi said, she'menurat bet hamikdash hayom madlikin ota bechatzi log, because that hatzi log was the measurement in the menorah. V'yah maspik bechol laila kol ned vaned, and that would be sufficient for every night, every single candle. V'od amru razal, they also said, the rabbis, kishegavra yad hashmonai, when the Hashmonaim, which we said yesterday was the specific family of the Kohanim, of Matityahu and his family, Badku velo matzu shemen, they didn't find any oil, ela ma shemaspik laila echad, just enough for one night. Shehu shi'ur gimel login v'chetzi bechol laila lechol hazayin nerot. So it was 3.5 log that they found for each night, for all 7. Shi'ur hatzi log bechol ner. So he says it was 3.5 log for all of the 7. That makes it half a log for every single candle. V'chatzi log hu mishkal gimel betzim, and half of a log is 3 eggs. V'chol betza shikula yud chet darhamim, and every egg, the betza is equal to 18 dirhamim. V'hagimel betzim shehem yud chemel darhamim, and the 3 eggs that are the betzim that are 18 dirhams. V'chol betza kaniskar yalu nun daled darhamim lechol nirvaneh. So it's 54 dirhamim for every single ned, every single candle that goes inside, or the oil that goes inside the candle holder. V'chshetistaref zayin pei nun daled zayin nerot. So he says 54 when you add them of the 7. Yalu shin ayin chet dirhamim. So you have 378 dirhamim total. He's giving you all the measurements so you know, and that's why he's breaking it all down. And that was the shi'ur that was found in the vessel with the chotam, the stamp, and the signature of the Kohen Gadol. And it was found in a ceramic keli vessel that doesn't accept tum'ah. From on top, only from within. And they divided this little jug that we just gave up the measurement of 378 dirham for all the 8 nights. And every night they would put inside the 7 dirhamim minus a raviyah, a fourth. The zayin minus a fourth. Let's see, he brings down here a note. This is, he brings down the bet K Yosef in Ora Hayim. Umashetiretz Maran Bet Yosef Shechalku Hashemen Lechet Halakim. That's when the Bet Yosef said that they divided the oil into 8. V'chen Chatav Moris Keni Harav Maharam Rabbi Abraham Atzulai Besefer Chesed Abraham. And Sefer Kadmon Ktav Yad Shezeh Haya Maaseh V'mekaven Lema Shekatav Kan. So he says that they divided. There was different arguments of how the Hashmonaim put the oil inside, but according to one, it was only an 1/8 inside. That he's speaking on this one.
So that one vessel would last the whole 8 days.
It was intended only for one night. That was
one.
It was only supposed to be for one night. So what the Hashmonaim did is they put, according to this opinion, 1/8 in each night, because they knew they needed 8 days to get the next batch. So why would they use all the 8th on the first night? But that
one vessel is one.
It's for each night. The jug that they found the Kohen Gadol was just for one night. But so the question is then, are you allowed to separate the oil and putting in less than needed, or should you just do it right the first night?
So I have a question. When they lit the menorah in the Bet Mikdash, right?
Yeah.
Did they do one night, one candle, 2 nights?
No.
Each night was
every night had to be all 7 plus 1.
Plus 1.
Actually, it's 7, not plus 1. It's 6 plus 1, 7 total. We do 7.
We do the shamash.
Yeah, we do shamash. I told you, we do the shamash for a few reasons. One of them being that if the light were to be used, we're not using from the Nerot Hanukkah, we're using from the shamash. That was one of the reasons brought down. Also, when they put so they did 7 dirhamim minus a fourth, and that would be enough for an hour and a half, which is 1/8 of the night. That's how much they intended. But in the miracles, really it's only 1.5 hours, but it ended up lighting the whole entire night. The 54, if you divide it to 14 hours, that every hour would have 4 dirhams and a half. Sod Hadlakat Nerot Chanukah 𝐂𝐓𝐄𝐃. So it would end up being that the shi'ur of the ner hadlakat ner, of the lighting, would be only a half an hour. And so that's how he comes up. That'd be 2 dirhams and a quarter. He's coming up with a lot of the measurements. Hey, the 5th, what kind of wick should you use? That they said, the rabbis, all of the wicks are accepted. So he says to use the tzemer gefen. Tzemer gefen is cotton. Tzemer gefen is cotton. He has to use that nisrak b'masrek, that is brushed. Interesting. Tzemer gefen. Let's see if we can find a good picture of this. If we can pull one up to see how the original one would look. The tzemer gefen. Let's take a look how a cotton wick by hand. Let's see here. Yeah, so here, this is more or less what it looks like. These cotton wick brush here, kind of like this. That's the thin cotton wick. So that would be the highest form, a well brushed cotton wick. Havav shehu shi'ur kamut hapetila. How thick should the wick be? Tzarich sheyachzik isur halal haner. 𝐂𝐓𝐄 שיעור חלל הנר צריך שיהיה מחזיק משקל בית דרהמים וחצי. It should hold in the keli 2 dirhamim and a half. ונותנים בתוכו בית דרהמים ורביע שהם תת רביע, and you put inside of it 2 dirhams and a quarter, which would make it 9. ובאותו רביע היה צריך שיהיה שיעור הפתילה לא משקלה, and that would be the thickness of the wick, not its weight.
What do they sell? The tivot tzemer gefen.
That's it. That's the tzemer gefen, the cotton ones. לא משקלה באופן שצריך חלל כל נר להחזיק 10 פתילות לא פחות ולא יותר. That every single halal, every branch of the ner should hold up to 10 pitilot, not less and not more. Zayin. שהוא באיזה מקום ראוי להניחה בטפח הסמוך לפתח שמאל הנכנס. So he said, where should you put the hanukkah? And this is from almost 1,000 years ago. He says you should put it on the tefach that's samuch lepetach mismol hanichnas, on the left of the person entering the door. So on the right, while you're entering the door there, you have the mezuzah on the right side. It should be on one tefach to the left. So you see where the molding is, which is about 4 inches on the door. It should be placed on the right side of that door. When I'm looking at it, when you're coming in, the mezuzah is on the right, so it would be on the left then, and 1 tefach off on the left. Or when I'm looking at it from this way, it would be on the right. Hachet, yeah.
So today it kind of could be, let's say I live in an apartment.
Yeah.
It's an awkward type of
Well, we said if you're over 20 amot,
yeah,
then
put it by the window.
you shouldn't put it by the window because people won't see it. If you're under 20 amot, put it by the window. If you're over,
Yeah.
you're over 20. No, you're over the fourth, fifth floor.
Yeah.
Then for sure you're over that. So then in that case you would put it by the door.
I should put it by the door.
By the door. Yeah, that's what he's
And
bringing.
if I don't put it by the door.
Where do you want to put it?
Because for safety reasons.
Yeah, what's wrong with the door?
I don't know. I just, this way I'm going to put it on a big table.
Okay, so that's why he tells you there's different levels of the mitzvah. He tells you that's exactly why he's telling you this here, is that he's telling you that it does matter where you put it, and he's saying that putting it in that location would be right. So listen, get a small table, put it by the door. By the way, we're not done. He's going to also tell you how high to put it.
Okay.
Don't put it too high. Don't put it too low. Listen, this is parts of the mitzvah of where you do it. Okay, so Ted.
Yeah, I have a question. He got all of this from Kabbalah?
Yeah, this book is
Is he the first one to list this kind of stuff? Or?
From what we see here, he's one, maybe not the first, but he's one that put it all together. Hatet, the 9. Shehu me'ezeh makom me'nerot yatchil lahadlik. From which side do you end up writing? Tzarich latchil lahadlik me'ner hasamuch lapetach. You should do it from the one that's closest to the door. So when I told you, like, I'm looking from the inside outside of that door, right? So you have the mezuzah on the left when I'm looking from the inside. On the right, you'll have the menorah, one tefach off from there. And then the new candles should be the one closest to the door. So from left to right.
Oh, okay.
That's how he's saying it. Okay, Hayud, the 10. Shehu be'ezeh seder yadlik hanerot bechol chet lelot. In which order should you light? Hu shebelel bet yadchil mahanera bet hasamuch lapetach. That you should start on the second night from the second candle closest to the door. Va'alav yivarech. And on that you should bless. ואחר כך הדליק נר שני הסמוך לו, שהוא הסמוך לפתח, ובליל ג' יתחיל מן הנר הקודם לאותם שני נרות שהדליק בליל ב', ואחר כך הדליק אותן הבית נרות הסמוכות לפתח כסדרן, וידליק על הסדר הזה כל החטא לילות, באופן שימצא בליל חטא שמתחיל להדליק מנר החטא היותר רחוק מן הפתח, וידליק על הסדר ישלים בנר הסמוך לפתח שבו הדליק בתחילה בליל ראשון. So he says here to do it in a different way than the way that we do. We do it from left to right. Here he's mentioning different. ומה שכתוב רז"ל, הזהיר בנר חנוכה הוויין לבנים זכרים שיהיו תלמידי חכמים. That a person who's careful on the ner of Hanukkah, careful with all these types of conditions, he'll have banim zecharim, males, boys that are males. What does that generally mean? Talmidei chachamim. First, it means that he's going to have boys that are Talmidei Chachamim, which is on a high level. It's not just a Chacham, but someone who learns. And even more than that, they're going to be Banim Zecharim. What do you mean Banim? If they're boys, of course they're males. No, there's some boys that are not males. Not that they act like females, that they do mitzvot like females. They don't learn Torah every day, they don't do mitzvot. So they're males, but they act like females where they think they're patur from all the mitzvot. So he says Banim Zecharim. That's one of the reasons why they say that. He says מדליקים נרות חנוכה ואין כולם ולא רובם זוכים לבנים זכרים שיהיו תלמידי חכמים. He goes, but we see a lot of times people who do the nerot Hanukkah, but their children are not banim zecharim and they're not talmidei chachamim. So what happened? And l'tmoa mizeh sha'emet too. Don't get too surprised. The truth is chachamim hem emet v'divrim emet. What everything the rabbi said is truth, and all their words are truthful. He goes, the whole world lights nerot Hanukkah. So they're all talmidei chachamim, their children. They end up doing their commandment properly. But very few people actually do the piratim, the detail of all the mitzvot that we're saying in this book accordingly. The location of the menorah, the height, the type of vessel, the type of oil, the type of wick, all that stuff is the diktukim. So it says, Hazahid bened, that someone who's careful with the ner, not that he just lights, that he's careful with all these different things that Rabbi Yitzchak Sagi Nahor is writing, or the Hachamim are writing the details. I want to get the best menorah, or the most appropriate menorah, and all these conditions. Then he has banim tamidei chachamim. אבל מיעוטה דמיעוטה זה הנה להדליק כפי כל פרטי המצוות והדקדוקים, שהזהיר בהדלקתם בכל פרטיה ודקדותיה, יקנה וישיג בכוח המצווה סגולותיה בנים זכרים תלמידי חכמים. He says if you want to really have boys that are like this, or if, let's say a guy has only girls, so maybe it would mean son-in-laws, okay? But if you want those Talmidei Chachamim, you got to do it with all those diktukim. Remember, like you told me, hey, I don't want to do it next to my door. Okay, you don't have to, but that's the segula works when you follow all the conditions. יסוד העניין הוא דע שיש חותם אחד מחותמי שם המפורש בין תת תיבות שעולה מספר מ"ה. Says there's a special hotam, a stamp of the name of the meforash that's on the 9 tevot, 9 words שעולה מספרם מ"ח. Misparan, that the number comes up to 45. B'tzurato b'tavnito hu love meruba betet batim, and it comes out of 9 homes. B'chol bayit ot echad, and in every house 1 letter. B'chol echad mehagimel oleh cheshbonot tet vav, and one of the 3 come up to a heshbon, a value of 15. V'zeh achotem yotzem mesifirat hachochma, and that is the stamp that comes out of the sefirat chochma. To be honest, I didn't understand that fully, but he makes a calculation, which I'm sure if we research, we can get it.
I don't know if I understood it correctly. You said the order of lighting from left to right.
Yes.
The first night.
Yes.
And then you mentioned something about the second night.
Yes. So when I'll go back to it here. So the way we do it is we light from left to right always, which means the first night you'll have the obviously I'm doing it this way, but you have the hanukkah here. This is the shamash, okay? And so you're going to light on this side. When I'm looking at the hanukkah, that's the first one. Then the second night will be like this. The third night like that.
Right.
So every night, where do I start to light from? So let's say here. Okay, see my hanukkah on this side? I start from this one, and then
you always go from
left to right when I'm looking at it, and then I go like that.
Then
but when you look here,
you're lighting them in consecutive, you do it from right to left.
No, what do you mean consecutive?
No, I'm saying the first night you light the one, right? The second night.
The first night there's only one. So this is going to be the first night. You have the shamash.
Yeah.
And then you have the one over here.
Right.
That's how you're going to light. So you're looking at it. This is how I'm looking at it from my angle. The second night I have 2, but I'm lighting this one first.
Okay.
And then this. But when I looked here, I said,
that is right to left.
No, it's left to right. The first one that you're lighting is on the left.
Right, but then the second night
it's
oh no.
Always left to right. Again, here. This is the third night. Which one of these fingers is first?
That's going left. Oh, I see. No.
When I'm looking at the menorah.
No. I got.
Okay, you see, this is the order.
Because the first one is always on the left, and then you keep on going.
Yes, when you're looking at the menorah. But he says it when he says over here, shehu be'eze seder yadlik hanerot. This is important that the order. Hu shebelil bet, the second night, irchil mehaner habet hasamuch lapetach. So it is the way that we do it. Allah yivarech. So he says on the first night, you know what? Let's draw it out. Let me get a pen and paper so you can see it, and we draw it out properly. Let's get the pen, the marker right here. Let's do it here. So let's take a look here. I think it's important to do this. So here is the door. Okay. And then you have here the mezuzah. Okay, well, right here, mezuzah. Okay, so here is the hanukkah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice I did it in the way that the Chabad are well known for it. So let's bring it all up. And so the first night we have here that. Let's do here, second night. So if you take a look here, I'll put it up there so you guys can see it. Here is the mezuzah, and this is the second night. So he says you start from the ner hasamuch lapetach, the one that's closest to the door. This is farther away. That's the first night would be here, the second night here, but you would be lighting every night from the candle that's closest to the door. So on the 8th night, the 8th would be here. You're lighting from the 8 to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You see, you're always going in that direction from the doorway. So you see that? That's the direction that it would always go. So actually, he has it exactly the way we do it, not in a different way. ואחר כך הדליק נר שני סמוך לו, שהוא הסמוך לפתח, ובליל ג' התחיל מן הנר הקודם לאותם שתי נרות שהדליק בליל ב', ואחר כך הדליק אותן הבית נרות הסמוכות לפתח כסדרן, וידליק על הסדר הזה. So that's exactly the way we drew it, which is exactly the way the halacha has it. Okay, let's continue. וכתב הרשב"י בתיקונים, מהי חוכמה 𝐂𝐓𝐄𝐃? What is chokhmah, wisdom? He says it's 𝐂𝐓𝐄. He used the letter of chokhmah, which means kovach is strength of the memhei. V'hasod, he says here, lefanecho. Okay. V'hasod hanimsa shesod ben dalet otiyot b'miloo. And he writes here the letters of Havaya, ola becheshbeno memhei. So he's spelling out, I guess, the milui of the name Havaya in the 45 order. You could spell 𝐂𝐄𝐓𝐇 in the milui, where you spell out the letters Yud, Yud, Vav, Dalet. Hey could be spelled Hey, 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 Aleph, Hey, Yud. And so here he's doing it in the Heshbon of Mem Hey to get 45. כבר נודע כי השם הרומז לספירת החוכמה הוא שם יוד and שעולה בחשבונו ט"ו. Okay, so when it comes to the sfira of the chokhmah, of knowledge, that goes under the yud and the hey, that equals 15, which is numerical value of yud and hey together. Bezehu sod yud and hey shebesfirat hachokhmah. That's the secret. Shem yud and hey nikra chokhmah she'asa lomar kovachma. That's the kovach of ma. Shehu sod hachotem haniskat sheyesh bo tet otiyot betet batim, 9 letters and 9 houses mirubaim. And this is the order, and he gives you the order here in it. I'll show it to you here quickly on the camera so you can see it. See how he made that little box there? See how he organized it? He puts the box where it has a bet, a tet, and a dalit. Then on the next one he has a zayin, a hey, and a gimel. Then he has a vav, an aleph, and a chet. V'chol gimel otiyot ola heshbonot tet vav. And every one of these that are here, if you add all the lines up, they all equal 15 in all directions. Okay. באופן שכל הטט עולה חשבונו מ"ה כחשבון שם בן ד' במילואו נזכר וזהו סוד Shem Yud and Hey Misfirat HaChokhmah. That is the secret of the Sfira of Chokhmah. Sheratzad Lomar Kovachma, the strength of the Ma'vedah. Ki HaChotem Yesh Lo Het Sedadim. It has 8 different sides over here. Bechol Gimel Otiyot Ola Cheshbano Tetvav. And all 3 of the letters together equal 15. Bechol Echad Mehachet Stadim. On all the 8 sides of it. So you have 3, 6, 9 here. He has 8. So how would he have 8? Let's say it's his cube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Interesting. He counts it as 8 sides. Let's see why he has 8 here. 3, 6, 9. I'm not sure. It's interesting. Bida ki nerot Chanukah hem lamed bet bekol achet lelot. The candles of Hanukkah are 36 on all. If you add on all the 8 days, it's 36 minus the shamash, because then you have 44. V'hizhir b'hem yizkeh lachokmah. V'azahir b'hem, someone who's careful with them will get a lot of knowledge. V'hasod lo chachmo sheskilu zot, and that's the chachmu yaskilu zot. V'hasod lo. That's he brings a pasuk here in Devarim Lamed Bet Kaftet. והסוד לא חכמו ישכילו זאת, כל הזהיר בלמד ו' נרות של מצווה חנוכה יזכה לבנים בעלי חוכמה. Whoever is careful in the 36 candles will have boys that are בעלי חוכמה, they're intelligent. מתי אם ישכילו זאת? When they're ישכילו זאת. רצה לומר אם יתכוונו להיזהר בזאת המצווה בכל פרטיה ודקותיה. He says specifically when you are very careful with all the details of what he's writing here on the Dikdukim, like we said earlier, that it's not just lighting the candles. Everyone lights candles Hanukkah, but how many people are careful with all these different things that we've been mentioning?
How much of this stuff is widely known? This information.
Listen,
this sounds something that should be basically taught from a very young age.
It should, but you have to remember that the current yeshiva system is not intended to produce Talmidei Chachamim. The current system that we have today doesn't produce much. There are those that succeed in the yeshiva world are the exceptional people that went outside the box. The ones that use the system, they stay in the system. It's kind of like the educational system in the K-12 of the United States, is that it's intended to produce factory workers and people that take commands, not an entrepreneurship spirit and understanding of owning businesses and creating products and things like that. It's intended that you follow orders. Take a test, you're not good in a test, the person fails. Yeah, but maybe that person is not a test taker. Maybe he's more creative. Maybe he has other capacities. So the current system that we have doesn't, and it's the same thing with the yeshiva system. The yeshiva system is intended to produce and teach in the masses, not to produce the best results. That's why those that have always succeeded are those that have learned. Now, outside of Chokhmah that we use here in Hebrew books, there's over 180,000 Sfarim between the two sites that we're using. That's only what they actually have scanned and have. There's more Sfarim than that. So we're learning one of them. Is this a basic? Yeah, I would say this is definitely a basic that everyone should know, because people are probably wondering why that Gemara has that Sigula, and they don't see that maybe their children are following. And here he's telling you it's all the details of it. Okay, we're on page 6. והשמן שצריך להדליק בכל אלו הל"ו הנרות שיעורן משקל פ"א dirham. So he says it should be 81 dirham, which is the weight of the oil, כחשבון. כיסא לשכינה, and he calls it a seat of the Shekhinah. Why seat? Because כיסא is numerical value 81. ולא עוד, אלא שהזהיר בל"ו נרות חנוכה ליתן בהם משקל פ"א dirham שמן. Whoever is careful to put in the candles, the 81 dirham of oil, זוכה שתתראה אליו השכינה ושישוב השם מחרון אפו, that the Shekhinah will be visible to him, whatever that means, and Hashem will take back any anger, ויעמוד בכיסא דין וישב על כיסא רחמים, and he will go from sitting on a chair of judging and go to a chair of mercy. It's unbelievable. That's if you use 81 dirham shemen shezoche keshebon af. That's why the word af, getting angry, is also 81, like the word kiseh. So he says af kiseh, that v'titapecha af lifnei Hashem, and the anger will turn to its opposite in front of God. Ratzah lomar.
So af is to fly away.
Yeah, af means angry. Yeah. Af. No, the other one is spelled with ayin, like lauf. It's with ayin. This is talking about af is, af is like a nose, like af, but also like to get married, get mad, not married. Getting married doesn't get you mad. I hope not. רצה לומר שזאת המצווה תעמוד לפניו לפה ולמליץ ללמד עליו זכות ולשון, אף מלשון אלף ahalapech chokhmah. So elif he has here, and he puts here af milashon elif, but elif here you have 31 and a is 111. Alapech chokhmah. He brings it up. He makes a play on the word from Iyov, the pasuk in Lamed Gimel. Okay. Amru zichronam levracha, the rabbi, shenerot hanukkah asur lehanot behem v'lo yishamesh laoram afilu devar mitzvah. You can't use the candles or the light for any reason. It's another important thing. Let's say sometimes people, they are by mistake using it for whatever purpose. I don't know, for something. This affects the sigula. And they warned us to add another candle next to the hanukkah, and if by mistake, and you end up having a pleasure from the light, that you had that pleasure from the shamash, not from the other ones. That's why they told you to add it. And you didn't go against the rabbi's requests not to have any pleasure. בנרות חנוכה צריך להקדים 2 ימים קודם לתקן הנרות לעצמין. That's why they were careful, Nerot Chanukah, that you should do it 2 days before the holiday. קודם לתקן הנרות להזמין שמן זית זך להדלקה, and get the purified virgin oil on process ולהעלות memhe pitilot, and to prepare the 45 pitilot. He says here 45. Lamevav pitilot lenerot Chanukah, 36 for the nerot Chanukah. Bechet pitilot shel chol lechet lelot, and then 8 you have for every night. Aleph bechol laila. But then you have here only 44. What does he say here? 45. Keshet hashbon achet pitilot imalam and vav yalu mem daled kehashbon dam. That's why if you add them together, the 36 plus the 8, you get 44, which equals dam, blood.
So you don't want to do that?
1 minute, let's see. That by doing this properly, God will save your blood, your life. And He will go from being angry. So, but how did he get here? He says 45. But when you add it's only 44. It's interesting. He has one extra that he adds. I wonder if he...
Because maybe he doesn't want that word.
No, he actually wanted it. Let's see what he says here more. Oh, he says, and he should do one other wick, a long one, in order to tie all of the 45 within that long one. Interesting. And then it will have 45. So I guess he's saying prepare all the pitilot, make them 45. Then take a large pitil and I guess do it on top of all of them. And this is talking about the secret of the chotam, of the stamp, which comes up as memhe. What's memhe on that? Sod chotam sefirat chokhmah. That's the secret of the sphere of knowledge. The strength of ma, chokhmah, the strength of memhe. We said of, which is havaya in the milui of 45 memhe. B'koach zeh Hashem naasa hanes b'shemen hamenorah b'bayit sheni. And it was in this strength that the miracle of the oil in the menorah in the second temple happened. Meaning, what was the kavanot that they were able to do to make this work? It was all these things I'm telling you with the 45 of the petilot, they did all these special kavanot in order to bring down this blessing. B'shemen shelo haya maspik ela lechad v'nasa nes v'aspik lechet halot, and that's how they did it with their kavanah. Meaning, they didn't just take physically wicks and put oil. They were doing measurements with kavanot and thinking of sfirot when they were doing it, which made it. We'll continue a little bit more and then we'll end it today. And we already explained that they divided it every night 1/8. They didn't all put it in one night, according to this opinion. So that they were well prepared for all the nights. Otherwise, the next night they would have nothing and they would be relying on a miracle. Yeah. Can you rely on a miracle? But then they have another issue. Can you light the menorah with less than you're supposed to? It's another question. And every night there was the miracle. That's why they ended up doing a halil with the beracha every night, because the miracle was every single night, including the first night, because they also put 1/8 in there.
We commemorate the miracle.
But what's the miracle? On the first night, if you tell me there was enough oil, then it wouldn't be a miracle. You're saying because it lasted all night and it didn't disappear. That was one of the opinions. But here he says if you put only 1/8 inside, then it makes sense that every night there was a miracle. There was a miracle every night. From the reason of this, that's why you say Halel every day. The reason why the miracle happened 8 days, 8 times for 8 days, not more, not less. That's because of the stamp, the chotam that we said earlier. That on every one of the 3 letters, they come up this heshbon tevav. That those are the letters that we said earlier in that box. That every single one of the box lines equal 15. From all the 8 sides. ומיטעם סוד זה, and the reason for this secret, ולכוונה זאת צריך להדליק הנרות בכל חטא לילות חנוכה, and therefore you light on all the 8 nights of Hanukkah. והעיד באלו המ"ה, and they were warned on all these 45 פתילות, הנזכר יוצאים מסוד החותם הנזכר שעולה בחשבונו מ"ה, זוכה בסגולת המצווה בכוח השם בן ד' שעולה במילאו מ"ה, שיהיו לו בנים תלמידי חכמים, and then by doing it in this order, with this kavanah, you'll have banim tamidei chachamim. We'll end it with this today, and we'll continue, God willing, tomorrow and finish it. It's only a few more pages, and we'll finish it. It's a nice little piece, and then hopefully we'll do a little sikun, Bili Neder, on the chart, and we'll organize it in a very easy manner. Baruch Adonai le'odam, Amen ve'amen.
It gives you a whole different perspective.